Thank you, everyone. And let's start our today's Nikāya study, reciting Namo Tassa 3 times together. Namo Tassa Bhagavato Arahato Samma Sambuddhassa. Namo Tassa Bhagavato Arahato Samma Sambuddhassa. Namo Tassa Bhagavato Arahato Samma Sambuddhassa. Okay, welcome back to Nikāya study in lesson 9. Today is part 9 of our study series. In today's lesson, we will study the Sonadanda Sutta. So this Sonadanda is the name of a Brahmin. At the name of Brahmin. So in this sutta, the qualities of true Brahmin will be emphasized. But in this lesson of part 9, we will not see this part. And in part 10, we will study about the true qualities of the Brahmin, or the Brahmin, the qualities of true Brahmin. In this lesson 9, we will see how this teaching come to appear, and we can say this is called, in Pāḷi tradition, this is called Nidana, especially. So most of the sutta, we can see the introduction part of the sutta. It usually expresses this sutta have been expounded where and to whom and what is the reason. So these are called Nidana, as kind of introduction to prove this sutta is preached by the Buddha or disciple, or sometimes the report of the Deva, in order to identify the position of the sutta. This introduction part is very important. So in this Sonadanda Sutta, the Brahmin Sonadanda approach the Buddha and have the conversation about the qualities of the true Brahmin. But before that, we need to know who is the Brahmin Sonadanda. Here, the Brahmin Sonadanda, his place is the city of Champa. We call the Champa, the city of Champa. Then he was the administrator of that city. So this authority is given by the Bimbisara, King Bimbisara. King Bimbisara, the king of Magadha. So when we study the sutta, we need to learn something about the geography of the India during the time of Buddha. So the previous sutta, King Kosala. So King Kosala gave the Ukata town to the Brahmin Pakrasati. So in this sutta, the King Bimbisara, the ruler of Magadha, gave this authority to the Brahmin Sona Danda in the city of Champa. So in this way, we can understand the Kosala belong to the Ugata, and the Magadha belong to the Champa city. And also, we should remember the king's name. The Bimbisara is the king of Magadha, and Pasenadi Kosala is the king of the Kosala region, Kosala country. Okay, so Sonadanda is the administrator of the Champa town. So the same expression with the previous sutta. Then the Buddha, during the traveling for the teaching of Dhamma, arrived at the Champa city, and also the Buddha was staying at the Gagara lotus pond. Here in this sutta, the expression comes the Champa is the part of the Anga country. So in this case, we can understand the Anga and Magadha, two countries are ruled by the King Bimbisara. Under the ruling of King Bimbisara, two countries, we can see the Magadha and the Anga. So the Champa is part of the Anga country. So here, the Brahmin and householders of the Champa city, they heard about the arrival of Buddha, who has a good report. You already know about the good reports of the Buddha. You may remember that the Arahant, Sammasambuddha, Vijayacharana Sampanna, etc. So emphasizing the 9 honors or 9 qualities of the Buddha are usually expressed as the good report of the Buddha. During that time, when the people talk about the Buddha, mostly the other sects, not the follower of the Buddha, they call the Buddha as the ascetic Gautama. But they also accept the ascetic Gautama or the Buddha has the good report of Arahant Sammasambuddha, Vijayacharana Sampanna, etc. Then the people in the city of Champa, they had learned about the arrival of Buddha, and because they know the good report of the Buddha, and then they want to approach to the Buddha. Then a great number of people gather to approach to the Buddha. At that time, the Brahmin Sonadanda, he saw the great number of people gathering and asked about why they are gathering, and he has learned the Buddha's arrival and people are going to approach. Then he asked his stewards to wait to deliver his message to these people. He also going to join to approach to the Buddha. So ascetic Gautama referring to the Buddha. So wait for him, he asked. Then the steward also asked the crowds to wait for the Sonadanda. This is the first event. Then during that time, for some reason, the many Brahmins, around 500 members of Brahmins from the different region, were living in Champa town, and they heard that the Sonadanda intended to visit the Buddha. This becomes issue for them. because they like to protect the rule of the Brahmins. Or if the Sonadanda approach to the Buddha, they are thinking that this is a kind of failures of the Brahmin community. So they call the Sonadanda and ask not to go to the Buddha. And they say it is not suitable to go by you, the Brahmin Sonadanda, to the ascetic Gautama. Actually, the ascetic Gautama should visit to Brahmin Sonadanda. It's considered that if someone visit to the other, so that person, the visitor, considers as the lower position. That's why they object. And given the different reason. So the first reason is if the Reverend Sonadanda, the Brahmin Sonadanda, approach with the crowds, approach to the ascetic Gautama, your reputation, so the Sonadanda's reputation will decrease, and the ascetic Gautama's reputation will be increased. People will think the Buddha has a higher quality than the Sonadanda. That is why the Sonadanda come to approach to the Buddha. So this is not the right way to visit to ascetic Gautama. That's why you should not visit. This is the first reason, because your reputation will decrease and the ascetic Gautama's reputation will increase. Then they say you should not go. Then they give another reason. So praising the Brahmin Sonadanda to pursue not to visit to the Buddha. And because the Brahmin Sonadanda is well born, both the mother and father's side, you Brahmin Sonadanda have the pure descendant to the seventh generation. If we follow up to the seventh generation, the pure Brahmin caste, you are belong to the pure Brahmin caste. That is why nobody can criticize you due to the birth, due to the caste. You have the pure descendant of caste system. And according to Brahmins' belief, those who have the pure descendant of in the caste system should be in the high position. So the Brahmin Sonadanda is that kind of person, belong to the pure descendants up to the seventh generation. You should be in higher position. You should not approach. This is the second reason. Then the third reason is about the world. You possess a great deal of wealth and resources. You are the richer person than ascetic Gautama. They are talking about the Buddha. That is why you are wealthier and you should not go. Then you are a scholar. So they praise by the education that you are a scholar and is part in 3 Vedas. And also you are very skillful in the rules and ratio of the Brahmanism and tradition. That's why by this honor, you should not approach. Other than that, the ascetic Gautama should approach to you. Then number 5 is about the appearance. So you are the handsome person and very good looking and the most beautiful complexion. That's why you are very resemble to the Brahmin's appearance. So this is very high position of praising about the appearance. So nobody can match with you about the appearance. A very handsome person. Also, the honors. Then number 6 is about the virtue. So you have a great virtuous person. You are a virtuous person and you have a great virtue. Everybody know about your virtues. And number 7 is well-spoken. You are very skillful in the polite way of speaking. And you know how to speak in the in how to say that as a gentleman is talking. So this is also your honors. By these honors you should not approach. Then number 8 is being a teacher of the teachers. So Brahmin teachers in different regions come to Reverend Sonadanda to learn, to discuss about the text of Veda. And also the young men, so about the 300 students are learning with you. That's why being a teacher, you should not approach. You should maintain your position. And also, number 9 is the age. You are already in age older than the ascetic Gautama, the Buddha himself. And compared to the Buddha, and the Buddha is just a young man. You are very senior to him according to the age. So this also another reason not to visit. And if we talk about the ascetic life, so the Brahmin life as in the same position, you already in the teacher level of the Brahmin. For the ascetic Gautama, he is just a newly gone forth, newly ordained monk. Just a few years ago, he started. So according to seniority of the ascetic life, also you should not approach. Then number 10 is the Reverend Sonadanda is honored by the King Bimbisara. So King Bimbisara gave the authority to rule the Champa town with respect to the Reverend Sonadanda's qualities. That's why the King Bimbisara also respect to you and also worship to you. So they say the worshiping also done by the king as a teacher. Maybe this relationship is the Brahmin Sonadanda is the consultant of the King Bimbisara. Then also they refers to the Brahmin Pakrasati. You may remember that this Pakrasati is a very educated person in the country of the King Kosala. So King Kosala. From the other country, the high Brahmin, high caste, and the high position of Brahmin also respect you. This is another honors of the Brahmin Sonadanda. So now in this sutta, we can see the position of the Brahmin Sonadanda is higher than the Brahmin Pakrasati. Then the last reason the other Brahmins given to the Sonadanda not to go to the Buddha is you are the ruler of this town, given by the King Bimbisara himself as a royal gift to rule this town. You are the owner of this Champa town. And that is why being in the highest position of the administration, the ascetic Gautama come to visit to you. He should visit to you, and you should not visit to him. These are the suggestion, and also on the other way, we can consider the objection of the Brahmins not to visit to the Buddha. Then at that time, the Brahmin Sonadanda himself, he explained about the reasons. Is more than the other Brahmins said to him. He has so many reasons and to visit to the Buddha himself. He already know clearly he should visit to the Buddha, other than waiting the Buddha himself come to the Buddha or come to him. And so he explained. So listen, my friends, listen, gentlemen, about the reason why I should visit to the Buddha. Then he explained, that is true. My caste system is pure. I'm the pure descendant of the seventh generation, of course. But the ascetic Gautama, the Buddha himself, also were born. That's why I'm the same position in this case. I cannot think myself regarding the caste system higher than the Buddha himself. That's why although you give well-born person as a well-born person to me, this is not the real reason to stay without approaching to the Buddha. Then the second one, so from the number 2, and he continued about the Buddha is renunciation. So going forth means the being ascetic life. So going forth into ascetic life. When the Buddha go to the ascetic life, the kinsmen, many relatives love to him, to the bodhisattva. We call the bodhisattva one who did not attain the Buddhahood, although he is going to become a Buddha. Before the attainment of Buddhahood, we call the bodhisattva. So it's translated as that sometimes the future Buddha in the English translation. The bodhisattva, when he renounced to search for the noble truth, many relatives, many kinsmen loved to him, and he was leaving behind them, they to going to the ascetic life. At the age of 29, he renounced, his bodhisattva renounced, leaving the great body of great number of kinsmen. It means his ordination, his approach into the ascetic life is not because of loss of relatives, loss of kinsmen, relatives. Although he has a good position of a great number of relatives, he left behind them. This is also one of the quality, not because of any disaster, not because of any loss. He just decided to become ascetic, to search for the noble truth. And if you are talking about my relatives or my followers, so we have to consider about the Buddha's relatives is much more than I have. This is the intention of the Sonadanda. Then also when he went forth into ascetic life, many worlds already belong to him, and he left behind them. And he gave up gold and wealth. Being very wealthy princes, and he abandoned it and become ascetics. After that, number 4 is when he became ascetic, and he is still young, only 29 years old. It means he can enjoy his life if he does not approach to the ascetic life. It means not because of losing wealth and losing age, just for his confidence to search for the noble truth. And also, number 5 is about the parents' will, not because of the force of parents. The Buddha renounced by himself while the parents are weeping. Because maybe you already heard about the expectation of the King Suddhodana, who is the father of the Buddha. Well, he expected the Buddha to become the universal monarch, Chakravarti king, not become the Buddha. That's why when the Buddha renounced and went forth to the ascetic life, so here, although the parents, the Buddha's mother already passed away at that time, the King Suddhodana father, and at the position of mother, and Mahapajapati Gautami. If you have read about the biography of the Buddha, you may know them. So none of them want him to leave home to become ascetic, and they just expect him to become a universal monarch, to make the Sakya kingdom stronger and powerful. So not because of parents' force or anybody's encouragement, he renounced according to his own will, his own confidence to search for the noble truth, for the benefits of every living beings. In these 4 statements, the Brahmin Sonadanda appreciate the reason or the condition of the Buddha when he renounced and become ascetic. Then the same virtues referred to him by the other Brahmins, and he continued, just like you say, I am a handsome man, so he is more handsome than me. So the Buddha is with the 32 great marks, we will see it later. So he is more handsome than me. Also, the virtuous, the Brahmin Sonadana cannot compare to the Buddha. Also, well-spoken, a teacher or teacher, these are shortened, and because the same expression. Also, another quality I don't have in me, the Brahmin Sonadana, he does not have. The quality is the ascetic Gautama, the Buddha, he has abandoned sensualities. Although the Brahmin Sonadana are living in the luxurious life endowed with the sensual pleasure, the Buddha is not living in that way. That's why these are extra praise to the Buddha. Then number 11 is the Buddha teaches action, Kammavadi. So we can learn in this statement, the view of the Buddha. So the Buddha teach the action, the action should be done. The action should be done. It means the action produce the result. If someone believes this system, this is called the Kammavadi. So Kamma produce the result. And this is the process. And another word, Kiriyavadi, it is translated as he teach the result of action. It means If someone wish to experience the good result, he should perform the good action. Definitely, the action is the cause. That's why action should be done according to your preference. If you like to have the good result in the future, you have to perform the good action as a cause of good result. This is called the Kiriyawadi. So for those who have a belief and confidence in the cause and effect relationship, this is called the Kammawadi. And for those who talk about the action, the good action should be done with the expectation to have the good result. It means the other will not reward you the good result. The only good action will produce good result. That is why if you wish to have a good result, the good action should be done. This kind of explanation is called the Kiriyawada. So those who have this kind of teaching, Kiriyawadi. Then, and the other one, this is a Pāļi expression, very nice. So sometimes we cannot give the complete meaning of the Pāļi statement by any language. That's why I keep the Pāļi word here. Appapa purakaro Brahmanyaya. So Brahmanyaya is the way to become the Brahmin. According to definition of the Brahmin community, to become the Brahma or to become the true Brahmin, there's a way. This is called the Brahmanyaya. And for the Buddhist community, this Brahmin is not the Brahmin according to caste system. This Brahmin refers to those who already remove defilements in his mind, become the noble person. That kind of person is called Brahmin according to the definition of Buddhist community. So in this case, you should know two definitions of the Brahmin, the word Brahmin, according to the different community. So here, Brahmanyaya means to become the noble person according to Buddhist community. According to Brahmin community, to become the Brahma or to become the true Brahmin. So when he talk about this way of life, the noble living of life, he is honoring to the blameless. The Appapa Purakara. Appapa, here the word Papa refers to the blameworthy action, something evil. So Appapa, the word up is the opposite meaning. That's why Appapa becomes the good or blameless. So when he talk about the way of living, he always keep the statement of goodness, blamelessness in the higher position. So Purakara is keeping in the head and the highest position. So if you live in the way of noble life, you should perform the blameless action. Nobody can become noble person with the blameworthy action. This is a very clear statement. If someone wants to become a noble person, he should avoid every blameworthy or evil action. This mesh, we can consider this as the principle of the Buddhist way. If someone is talking about, well, I am trying to be in the noble person life, I'm on the way of noble person's life. And if we see he is performing evil action. We say it is not. It's not true. If we maintain himself in the blameless position, performing the blameless action and good action, we can say, okay, it is true. So this statement is given by the Brahmin Sona Danda, talking about the Buddha's Pāḷi. We can understand the three words to express the Buddha: Kammawadi, Kiriyawadi, and Apapapudakaro Brahmanyaya. So taking this as a principle of the Buddhist way of life, if someone's talking about, or if you want to become the authentic Buddhist, you do this. So you can consider whether this is evil or good. If it is evil, you should say this is not matched with the principle of the Buddhist way. If it is good action, you can follow it. Okay, so number 12 is still he repeating about the caste system, the high path. He become a wanderer. So a wanderer refers to the ascetics. So he become ascetic from the high paths or the Katiya family. He is a prince, son of the king. Then number 13 is from the wealthy family, very similar to the in number 2, 3, 4 expression. And number 14 and 15. So people from the different region, from the different land, come to the Buddha to consult about the way of living, about the Dhamma. This is also a kind of virtues of the Buddha, honors of the Buddha. For people come to him, consult to him, mean he is wise person. Then not only human being, so he said that many thousands of devas. The devas is the heavenly beings, but sometimes the earthly deva also have, and mostly the devas have the better life and the better powers than human beings. So not only human being, even the many thousands of deva take refuge to him or become a disciple. So in two statements of 14 and 15 say, teacher of the human and devas. And verse 16, he repeated, he has a good report, but Brahmin Sonadana does not have this kind of good reputation about the Arahant Sama Sambuddha. Only the Buddha or ascetic Gautama have this kind of good report. Then 17, he appreciates about the appearance of the Buddha. His body is endowed with the 32 marks of great man. This is also very important because this is called the Mahapurusa Lakkhana. So great man is Mahapurusa, Lakkhana is a marks. In the Brahminical text, there is one Brahminical text is called the Mahapurusa Lakkhana text. So the Brahmins, they had already learned about the great person, great man must be endowed with the 32 kinds of the marks. But if you really investigate about the physical body of the Buddha, you will see 32 great marks of the 32 marks of the great man. As mentioned in the text, he praised by this quality. These 32 marks are explained in the Lakkhana Sutta. So we will study there, the great man. The Brahmin community really appreciate those who have this kind. Sometimes, some Brahmin have only 3 marks only. But they still appreciate about that. But Buddha have all complete 32 marks. That is why when you closely see some Buddha statue and the artists, they made it by the 32 marks. And number 18 is the Buddha has a welcoming words. If someone visits to the Buddha warmly welcome and kindly speaks to him, to the visitor. So this is also kind of qualities. By following this, we show welcome to our visitor, with the kind speech. Then number 19 is for assemblies referred to the Buddha. So for assemblies mean the bhikkhu, the monks, not the male monks, and the female monks are called the bhikkhuni. Then the lay followers and female lay followers, and these are called the four assembly. They really really honor to the Buddha. And also many deva and human devoted to the Buddha. After that, this is also another qualities. When the Buddha visit to anywhere, some place, a town or village, in that region, the non-human beings are not making trouble to the human beings. It is said at the arrival of the Buddha, some powerful devas come to visit to the Buddha. When the powerful deva come to visit, and the others, the lower level, are separate with the evil mind, evil spirits run away. So the commentary explained that the evil spirits just trouble to the human being, and because they run away, being afraid of the powerful deva, and everybody is safe in that area. This is the reason why in the place the Buddha visit is safe. Then the number 22 is the different followers follows to the Buddha's instruction, listen to the Buddha's Dhamma and practice. So the Buddha is a great teacher of different people. So not only Anga country, not only Magadha country and the Kosala country. So we can see in the text and the Buddha traveling around for the propagation of the Dhamma, every country. And even the kings welcome and take refuge to the Buddha, become a follower. So he is a great leader of these sects. The Buddha forming the Sangha community, the community of the monks, and he is a chief. And also, not only the Buddha, the other we already introduced in the second sutta of the Samanyaphala Sutta, the different teacher, now altogether 6 great teacher during that time, 6 teacher. Every one of them have their own followers group. But the difference is the ascetic Gautama, according to the Brahmin Sonadanda, is well known, not because of the reason of here and there, not this and that reporters. He is well known because of his unsurpassed wisdom and conduct. This already explained the wisdom and conduct, Vicca and Charana. So his fame and his reputation is achieved according to his Vicca Charana. Not because of follower, not because of the other reason. The other teacher have a different reason to gain their fame and reputation. But for the ascetic Gautama, the main reason to get his fame is Vicca and Charana. So you can check back what are the Vicca and Charana in the number 3 sutta. Okay, so this is 22nd. Then 23rd and 24th about the followers. You say the king Bimbisara worship to me and honor to me, but he is not taking refuge to me. He just take refuge to the ascetic Gautama. Not only himself, he take refuge with his son, his wife, and his follower, including the ministers and the attendants. And not only King Bimbisara, the other kingdom of the King Basenadi Kosala also take refuge. Also Bakrasadi. So the Brahmin just say the King Bimbisara and Bakrasadi worship to the Brahmin Sonadanda, but in this case, the Brahmin Sonadanda himself expressed the two kings, not only two kings, he just gave the example, the very high power of two kings and the high position of Brahmin, they take refuge to the Buddha. So understanding this passage, we can understand, this Sutta, Sonadanda Sutta, is preached later than the Ambata Sutta, the number 3 Sutta, because in number 3 Sutta, we can see the Bakrasati approach to the Buddha after having conversation and invitation, and he approached himself as the follower of the Buddha. So here in this Sutta, the Brahmin Sonadanda explained Bakrasati take refuge to the Buddha. It means this Sutta is later than the Ambata Sutta. Then also these three great men, great kings, and the Brahmins, they reference to the ascetic Gautama. And finally, because the ascetic Gautama arrived to Sampa town where I am ruling in this town, so he is our visitor, our guest. So whoever come to our territory is our guest, including ascetic Gautama. This is also very important reason to visit him. So we should honor to our guests. And so he is now living in the Gagras Lota Pond. So I'm going to approach to him there. And he finalized that finally he just said, this all what I can praise to the ascetic Gautama. This is all I know about his honor. But this is not enough to praise ascetic Gautama because he is beyond all praise. So they usually say, if someone just not talking any other thing, and just talk about the Buddha's virtue, although he spent his whole life, it is not enough. And also, only the wise person can understand about Buddha's virtue and can express properly about the Buddha's honors. So by this statement, the Brahmin Sonadanda keep himself in the lower position. Although I praise the ascetic Gautama as much as I can, but that praising is not sufficient to express the ascetic Gautama's honors. He still have a lot of things to appreciate or to praise. Then finally, the group, about the 500 group of the Brahmins, they accepted. Oh, if so, according to your explanation, according to your statements, the ascetic Gautama is very honorable person. By listening, your praising, we can say, even if he is living in very far distance, about the 100 days walking distance, the person who has the knowledge to learn as a great man, he should approach. It's not only, they say now the ascetic Gautama is living nearby in our place. Even if he live very far, we should visit. So why not we visit together? And they decided we also will follow to you, Brahmin Sonadanda, and then they follow to the Brahmin Sonadanda, and they all approach to the Buddha, to visit to the Buddha as a honorary guest. Then, and next lesson we will study about their conversation and about the true quality of Brahmin. And this is very interesting, and we can learn what are the most important qualities to become a great person in the next lesson. I'm going to stop here my explanation. Thank you very much for your attention and participation. Thank you.
Sadhu, 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 Sayadaw. Sayadaw, thank you very much for today's teaching. During each session, Sayadaw will explain the outline of every sutta one by one. There's homework assignment for this Nikāya study series. For our next homework assignment, Sayadaw would like us to continue in reading the translated fourth sutta of Digha Nikāya in your preferred language to prepare ourselves before the next study session in 3 weeks. Please take notes during your readings. If there are any questions, please submit to our email at americadhammasociety@gmail.com, and it will be answered accordingly. On this link, you can also access the lecture notes of this teaching series. Lecture notes are also translated to Chinese, Indonesian, and Vietnamese. We have also posted this link in our Zoom chat room. You can copy it now. Otherwise, please reach out to us for this link if you have not done so.